woman by 5 hours. It's so demeaning to women. It's so ridiculous, right? It's so ridiculous. The weightlifting, take a look at the weightlifting records. One record stood for 18 years, and it was broken by 112 pounds. They couldn't get 1/8 of an ounce, you know? They'd put an 1/8 of an ounce on, then she's gonna break the record for her mom who's sitting in the front with her father. I'm gonna break it, Dad. And she's out there. We're adding 1/8 of an ounce to each side. This record has stood, ladies and gentlemen, for 18 years. But she's gonna do it. She's looking to get into the Olympics, right? And she gets up and they put a little tiny thing like this, little tiny. And my wife, by the way, my wife hates when I do this. She said, you know, she's a very classy person, right? She said, it's so unpresidential. I said, but I did become president. You know, she hates when I dance. I said, everybody wants me to dance. Darling, it's not presidential. She actually said, could you imagine FDR dancing? She said that to me. And I said, there's a long history that perhaps she doesn't know. Because he was an elegant fellow, even as a Democrat, right? He was the attack by Japan, you know, he was quite elegant. But he wouldn't be doing this. But nor would too many others. But she says, darling, please, the weightlifting is terrible. And I have to say this, the dancing they really like. She said, they don't like it, they're just being nice to you. I said, that's not right. The place goes crazy. They're screaming, dance, please. But the weightlifting, but no, the girl gets up. And you see, I want to be more, but I have somebody watching. I want to be more effusive. I want to really, yeah. But she gets it, and drops the thing, walks off the stage crying. Her mother's crying, her father's crying. Guy gets up. He said, have you lifted before? A little bit. And he walks up, bing. He could have gone ding, 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 ding. I think it was 112 pounds, huh? It's crazy. Or the beautiful boxer, they have boxing now, and that they have a young gentleman who transitioned, who's a very good boxer, but he wanted to be a woman, which is, you know, to each his own. Because I want to be very liberal when it comes to these subjects. I'm trying to get that vote. It's not an easy vote to get. It's very tough for me to get it. But he transitioned, and he transitioned, and the girl was a champion boxer from Italy, remember? She got up, first round, he hit her, boom, with a left. A left, for those, everybody here knows about, but a left, Lisa knows better than anybody, but a left is defense. He goes, boom. She's like, oh my, she walked to the corner, remember? She didn't go down, but she did everything else, but she said, I've never been hit like that before. I don't want to go out again. You can do it. You can do it. Bang. She walked off. She said, he happened to win the gold medal, that young woman. He won the gold medal. There were two transition people. They both won gold medals. The whole thing is ridiculous. You have policy on your side. They don't have policy on your side. Right? You have policy. And I saw this guy fighting like hell. The swimming records, it's ridiculous when you look at the swimming, any records. It's crazy, and it's so demeaning to women. Women are the, you know, and for a long time, they refused to talk about it. They were embarrassed to talk about it. Now they do talk about it. They talk about it openly, but they have the worst policy on everything, open borders. We want open borders. You know, they still want an open border. We did the greatest job ever on borders, and you know, I think they forgot it. My guy said to me today, I have a great guy, Ross, he's the greatest speechwriter. He said, sir, let's not mention the border. Nobody cares about the border anymore. Can you believe it? This was the biggest, this was the biggest thing there was. It says to me, nobody cares about the border because it has a shelf life. I fixed the border. I fixed it in my first term, but now I really had to fix it. It was much worse, when I came into office. Millions and millions of people were pouring into our country. And I fixed it, and my guy, who's incredible, says, people don't want to hear it, sir. You've done that. The problem is people forget that I did it. They totally forget. They were talking about the other day, we don't like Donald Trump on this, we don't like Donald Trump on that. And somebody just out of the blue said, well, he did an unbelievable job. Who cares about that? They're saying, that's been done. What do we do about that, Mike? Everything you do. It's almost like, what have you done lately is the way you have to run your life. In other words, I could have the most unbelievable 4 years, and I guess I'm not allowed to run. I'm not sure. Is there a little something out there that I'm not allowed to run? But let's assume I was allowed to run. I could have, there's going to be a constitutional movement. No, I could have the most unbelievable 4 years. Everything was great, but in the last week, I made a little slip up in something, and you lose the election. It's like, so we can't let them forget that we did such a great job on the border. By the way, Venezuela, everyone, they're marching in the streets, they love it, except in New York. I mean, where they find these people? These people, and they're not these people are a mess. I know it's not nice to say that. These people are a mess. Where do they find these people? They're the worst looking people I've ever seen. They got hats that are all frayed and they look like, they're all paid. They don't even know what they're talking. When the reporters don't interview them because they know that it's, the press is so anti. It's hard to believe the press could be so anti. Because it's all common sense. It's not, we're conservative, whatever. Doesn't matter. We're all common sense people. It's not even conservative, it's common sense. But the press has no credibility whatsoever. Think of it. I got 97% bad stories on one network, 93% on the other, and I won in a landslide. You know what that means? The press has no credibility. That's all it means. And we got to keep it that way. So I don't talk too much about the swimming, the weightlifting, the boxing. I don't talk about it. You know why? I want to start bringing it up about a week before the election, because I don't want them to correct themselves. I don't want them to say, we've decided that we don't want to have men playing in women's sports. That'd be a devastating blow for us. Because that's, they say it's an 80-20. No. It's about a 98-2 issue. We've decided that we will not have open borders where the entire world, from the Congo, prisons from the Congo, these are extraordinarily tough people. These are people that make our motorcycle gangs look like fine young men. Okay? Our motorcycle gangs are wonderful people by comparison. No, they come in from prisons in the Congo. They come in from